Hello, everybody, and welcome to an amazingly special edition of CLX Foundry Live. I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX. You can call me Trooper Blue. And, of course, live from our studios in Wichita, Kansas, it is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and our master builder, Zach Hutchinson. Killingsworth.
I thought that was a joke.
That hasn't happened in ages. It's the headphones over the cloth that's making my brain hurt. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We've got an incredible show for you, including a very special edition for this month's giveaway with us. Now, that means there's two separate giveaways going on. So let me explain the rules to you. First of all, there are going to be codes coming out. Tuesday's codes come out on the green side. That's our Kick channel. Thursday, the codes come out on our Twitch channel. Say it with me. Okay, there we go. Now, the thing that everybody always looks for is, what do we do with the codes? You're going to put them in the giveaway site. For more information on the giveaway, type !giveaway. Now, there are codes for different giveaways, so pay attention to which one you're putting it into. You can find codes on our social medias. That is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming. You can also find them on in our Discord at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. You may also find them, you'll also definitely find them on my channels when I stream whenever. So, with that being said, guys, there's a reason why I'm dressed like a very soft cloth stormtrooper. What are we doing?
All right, so we have this special edition Horus, the Star Wars Outlaws. So custom print on this. Starting out with the specs here, going inside of this with our processor, we've got an Intel Core i7-14700KF. To cool that, we've got our CLX Quench 360 AIO in white. This has the ARGB cap as well. Looks great. For our motherboard, we've got a Gigabyte Z790 Aorus Elite AX Ice. So it's got the white PCB. You can see it right there. Looks really clean. For our memory, we've got two sticks of XPG 16 gigabyte DDR5 6000 speed in white. You can see it down there at the bottom. It's got the RGB heat spreaders on top of it. And for our video card, we've got a Gigabyte RTX 4070 Super. This is the Aero, really clean cooler right there. You can see the three fans and all in white as well. For our storage, we've got a single 1 terabyte ADATA 700 gold M.2 NVMe drive. And for our case fans, we have 8 of our Fantex D30 fans. Now these are pretty special and they have a few different ways you can set them up, so we'll talk about those here in a little bit when we get into those. And lastly, for our power supply, we've got the MSI 850 watt 80 plus gold mag modular power supply in white. These do come in black. I really like the white edition. The cables are white as well, and we'll show those a little bit later on.
Nice. All right, well, let's get started. First of all, let's take a look at these panels because they're amazing. I'm loving the fact that there is there's a speed bike in the back. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this because it all comes around.
Look at this thing.
Oh my God, that's incredible. And this is once again absolutely gorgeous. And you know, it's fitting that it is an Intel build because the original speeders from Return of the Jedi were actually they were run on dual core Celerons and three size D batteries. So legitimately. All right. Now we're going to be putting this into this custom NV5, which is an amazing build. Paul, what are some really neat features about this case?
So what I like about the NV5 is this kind of seamless glass you can see there. There's no post in between the front and glass side panels. So it looks really clean. I like the way the fans are set up in this and the power supply shroud. And for me, the size. This is still an ATX build, but it's not super large. So this can fit really on any desk.
Nice. Great. I love it. This is gonna look so much fun. This is gonna look incredible. I mean, just the art job alone looks absolutely incredible. And a huge shout out and thank you everybody but Lucas for letting us do this. This is cool. Now let's start off with our motherboard. All right, now this is an Aorus. I, for some reason, have the wrong one on the list. All right, let's go through some of the things on this board. It's brilliant. Yes. All right. So at the very top of it, let's take a look at all these ports. You've got your USB 2s, the very, very top 4 of them. Plus, you've got the 2 antenna. Below that is the USB 3.2 2 Gen 1s. You've got your, obviously, display port. Then you've got your HDMI port. Down below there is your USB 3.2 Gen 2. And then you've got your 3.2 Gen 2 by 2, which is 10 gigs up, 10 gigs down. Amazing for anything you want to hook together. It's like maybe a USB-C hub. Then you've got your 2.5 gig LAN port and your digital audio out, along with your mic and your line in. Because if you're going to be using a board of this nature, all you have to do is figure out that you're going to be using a graphics card for your sound. But absolutely brilliant board. I love it. Gorgeous. Okay. Now, as you get that ring put on there, we are going to be powering this whole thing with a Core i7 10700KF processor. So, Paul, what's really cool about this processor? Why is it special?
Yes, this is a very high-end gaming processor from Intel. It is a 20-core, 28-thread processor. So you've got 8 performance cores that have hyper-threading, so you get 16 threads off those performance cores. And then you also have 12 efficiency cores. It's got a base speed of 3.4, and it will boost up to 5.6.
Nice. Nice. That's going to be super fast. Lots of different things you can do with that. Okay. Now, one of the great things about this is all of the heat sinks that you see on here, and there's quite a bit of robust options on it. So what are some of the cool features?
I mean, for me, the coolest thing about this board is the white PCB. Matches well with a white build, and then other than that, we've got a lot of heat shielding and a lot of room for our M.2s down here. So plenty of options for storage on this build, but yeah, I just love the white PCB.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, I mean, I have an all-internal white build, which is fun. I dig it a lot, and we're going to be doing some cool things with it. But first, we're going to be putting together our AIO. Now, what is it you just put on top of there?
This is my thermal paste applicator.
Oh, okay. Nice. By the way, huge shout out and thank you to everybody. We can see you all. If you've got questions about anything that you hear today, please let us know. We can ask and get you answers. From SSDs from Team Group T-Force, any good, reliable? Are SSDs from Team Group T-Force?
So
good question.
That is a good question. So we have started to use some of those, and we've seen good performance with them. It's not a brand that we've carried for a long time, but you know, we do have some RAM as well that's working great, and then a couple M.2, a couple different models of M.2s, and they all seem pretty reliable to me.
All right. Now, we're going to be putting on an AIO on here. Now, this is an all-in-one. It is it's a liquid cooler. So, actually, it's really cool the way that applied that. That's actually really awesome. So walk us through what this does and how many different ways there are to cool a PC.
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways to cool your PC. Now, typically you can go with air cooling or liquid cooling. So we're going with the liquid cooler here. That's why we have the AIO, which stands for all-in-one. Why I really like these is they come out of the box ready to go. There's already coolant installed in this. You can see Zach's almost done installing the whole thing. He's just got to tighten those screws down and plug in his cables. So typically these AIOs, no matter what brand you get, are going to come with 3 to 4, maybe even 5 different sets of hardware for the different motherboard socket types. So you just want to make sure you grab the right set of hardware that matches your motherboard socket, and from there it's pretty much good to go.
Alrighty. There we go.
Now, typically on AIOs, there's going to be, each brand has their own different way of plugging them in. Why we like these is it's got a 4-pin fan header that Zach's got right there. We'll plug that into our CPU pump header on the motherboard, and then that other cable's for the RGB controls. So we'll plug that in a little bit later, and that's what will give us lighting under that cap there.
Okay.
What's up, Dadzilla? Good to see you.
Dad's in the house. Yes. Bearded fellow, any codes yet? Not yet, but when they do drop, it's Tuesday, so we're gonna be dropping those over on the green side. That's where those will be. You'll hear me say Emmanuel Zulu over on the Facebook side. Hello, welcome in. Good to have you. Pure White Mark 7. Does the code work for both current giveaways or only this one? So, yeah, it's only going to be one. Yes. Okay. Now, I do believe I misspoke earlier. I think I said i7, I meant i5. We've got the Quench there, and the Z7 Nerdy. It is an Aorus Elite AX Ice, which I love. Now, for the RAM, we've got 32 gigs of XPG Lancer Black, or Lancer White. It is RGB 6000, DDR5 6000, which is amazingly fast. So, and this is great because I'm loving the fact that they're coming out with this in multiple colors.
Yeah, I am too. It's really nice if you're going with a certain color build like what we're doing here with the white build to have matching memory. It just is, it's a nice touch. I believe they do. Yeah. They obviously have black, and then I think there's some red versions as well.
There we go. Now, when it comes to installing your M.2s, because that's what we're going to be doing is the M.2. What's the best way of accessing those ports on the motherboard?
Yeah, so typically there's going to be, on higher end boards, you've got this heat shield that you can see Zach taking off right there. Now this is on the top slot, so this heat shield is actually pretty thick and quite a bit taller than the ones down below. So we want to use that top slot for our main drive. That's where we are going to load the operating system. That's where the motherboard and CPU are going to look to first. And typically that slots might be a little bit faster than the other slots, but it does depend on what board you get. But as you can see, really easy to install. I love that push down. That's pretty sick.
Right?
And we have 3 extra bays.
I like how they're all in a row there too. That just looks super clean if you were to fill that up.
Absolutely. So Mootkins, hello, welcome. So are you guys considering testing or benchmarking Intel Battlemage GPUs for your upcoming builds? Good question.
If we are carrying those, we will definitely be doing benchmarking and testing on that. We do that on anything that we get here, just to make sure it's looking good, and honestly, it's just kind of fun to do.
Yeah. And again, we've got lots of questions coming in. Yes, there we go. How do you guys choose which brand of RAM to go with? Like all 8 gig sticks of RAM, not the same?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously we want to pick solid, reliable, and premium components. So we look at RAM, we like going with all the big names. It's nice that we can use a bunch of different brands. We're not tied to a specific brand in any way. So being able to have all of the options is great. So typically, we've been carrying XPG for a long time. Patriot is another one that we carry a lot. There's a bunch of different RAM companies that we've been carrying for a while, but let's say there's a new one coming out. We'll typically get a couple sticks and run it through a bunch of tests and make sure it looks good there.
I know there's a discussion here about 2 versus 4. I have 4 16s. I could have gone with 2 32s, but instead I went with 4 16s. For mine, is there any advantage to one or the other?
Yeah, so for this build, we've got 32 gigs of total memory broken down into 2 16 gig sticks that you can see installed. Now, if we were to run 4 8s, that would give us the same capacity, and all of our RAM slots would be full. Now, if you ran a memory test, you might see that would perform faster than 2 16 gig sticks, but in our experience with what we've seen in games, it doesn't really affect frame rate enough to make the change. I prefer to go with 2 sticks. That way you've got two slots open if you want to upgrade in the future.
Yep. Now here's something that's a really good upgrade for these, because we're going to be using the Fantex D30 white fans, and these are really unique for when you compare them to other fans. Paul, why is that?
Yes, these are some very high-end fans here. Now you can see, as Zach got there, you see 3 fans on there, but there's only 2 cables coming out. That is one thing that's really awesome about these ones, is they all clip together like this. So you can connect these as you need, and then just 2 cables coming out that power it all. In between these fans here, I've got one right here that I can show you. You can probably see these kind of copper lands. This is how they connect with brackets. So these are really awesome for cable management, and the airflow that they do is great.
So Calm Down Jamal asks, hey DJ, how do you use the code? So you want to go to the giveaway page, and then once you get started on the giveaway, you'll notice down at the bottom it'll say enter a code for more entries. I believe that's what it'll say.
And something else with these fans that's just kind of a nice finishing touch. You see Zach putting on these covers. They cover up the screws, so you just get a really nice finished look there.
Got it. Oh, right. Yeah, I can't access that part of the page. Ivory, stuff FYI. Okay, now we're getting this ready to get put into our NV5. This is such a gorgeous case. It's going to be incredible. Now, this also has a neat feature. This is basically like a 3/4 of because it doesn't sit all the way on the back. Now, that provides us a little bit of space for the cable management, which is going to make it easier for Zach to get all the tie downs. But what's also fun about it is that it gives you a little bit of airflow. So let's start with, what is the board sitting on, and why is it important that if you're building your own PC, you pay attention to exactly where these standoffs are?
Yes, this is a great shot to show that. So our motherboard is sitting on those standoffs. They're silver in this case because it is a white chassis. It looks a little bit better than some black ones. So those standoffs are providing support for the motherboard, and then we're going to be putting our motherboard mounting screws through the motherboard and into those standoffs. And why those are important is we wouldn't want the back of our motherboard to be touching the frame of the chassis. Since it's metal, it could cause things to short out. So you definitely want to make sure you got your standoffs in the right spot. If you miss one, it's not the end of the world, but if you have an extra standoff in there where there isn't a motherboard mounting hole, that can definitely cause some issues.
Awesome. Absolutely. It's only showing an aircraft in the background. Geeks the sneak. For the code, yes. I believe there are going to be two different links. Oh my gosh! You know what? I may be an idiot. Yeah, you know, have that moment when you just realize this just happened. Okay, now as we get this all locked down here, we've obviously got our two pins pulled here on for our little slots, so we're going to be able to get that beautiful graphics card put in there. But as we get this going through, the other thing that I really love is the theming of these. Now, I've seen some cases that are white internals, but they've got the black rubber grommets. They go so far as to put white rubber grommets on here, which is incredible. The other cool thing about this build is, as you can see from this perspective, it's at an angle. It's raised on the back and a little bit lower on the still off the ground. That's going to give you a greater access for air. When it comes to that, Paul, why is that important? And what should you be focusing putting this on once you get it at home?
Yeah, so if you can put this on a hard surface, that's always going to be great. This gap between the bottom of the feet here and the actual bottom of the chassis, you want to keep that as open as possible, because we're going to have an intake fan on this side, so that's going to be getting fresh air, and that's where that angle helps. It creates more of a gap for more air to come in. And then right here, this is where our power supply is going to be bringing air in, and it's going to shoot it out the back.
What Steve RCs? What's up, Steve? Says, what are you wearing, DJ? Is that a Stormtrooper onesie? You are absolutely correct, sir. I had to. The minute I saw this is what was happening today, I was like, oh my gosh! I almost wore my custom Mandalorian A30s, but they just didn't fit well over my ears with the cloth, and if I put it underneath, then I look like the Flying Nun. Which now that just dated me, because everybody's like, what the heck is a flying nun? All right. What's up, Firecracker? Welcome in, Venur. Nice to see you.
That's that old
What a banana.
Whoopi Goldberg movie, right?
Is it?
Oh, that's the
What?
Sister Act. I forgot about Sister Act. There was like 20 of those things.
Was there?
It was a lot.
Oh my God.
It was like the Beethoven movies, you know, with the big dog. There was a whole bunch of those too.
Big dog. But who doesn't love a big dog? Until they start barking. All right. Now, obviously, we're going to be positioning those tubes, which all go to the AIO. Where is it that you would prefer, or should you look to? I mean, on this build, it's going to be pretty obvious. It's just that it's the top. But are there other places you can mount your AIO?
Yeah. So if we can go to a front shot real quick. So this is our AIO. Obviously we mount it in the top. The biggest thing is these tubes that go into the radiator. You want this above your pump, which is right here. So sometimes we can mount this AIO right here in the side. We would just want to make sure these tubes are up top. And the reason for that is there's always going to be a small amount of air inside these AIOs, and we don't want that air to come down here to the pump. So worst case scenario, you might have to mount your radiator to the bottom of your case where it would be below, and it's okay, your system's going to function, but if you can, you want to keep these tubes at least above the pump.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have a lot of airflow on this. So we've got, as you can see, that lower power shroud, if you can point to that real fast. The lower power shroud right there, that is going to separate the power supply unit from the rest of the device, giving it its own little, I would say, microcosm of an airflow. So how does that work, and why do you need to separate it from the rest of the system?
Yeah, so there's a couple reasons that we want our power supply in kind of a separate compartment. For me, I think the biggest reason is just an overall aesthetic. It's going to give us a really clean look. You won't see the cables coming out of the power supply, and then also this case has some RGB elements to that power supply shroud as well. And then a second, more practical reason is the heat from that power supply is not going to be in the main body of the case. Like I was talking about earlier, it's just going to get its intake in through the bottom and spit the air out the back. So they don't generate a ton of heat, but anytime you can reduce heat inside your case is a good thing.
Is this a pull-through radiator instead of a push?
So we're going to be pushing air through this radiator here. If we had the fans on the other side, and that's something we can talk a little bit more about, these fans. So we're gonna have these three obviously going to be intaking in the side, they're all one, and then we're going to have these two. One of these is going to be in the bottom and one's in the back. So if you look closely, you can see these fans do look a little different as far as the pitch of the blade, and that's because these are the D30s. You can buy them in a way where the grill is either on the front or the back, and this is what I'm talking about. So that way you can have our intake fan down at the bottom without seeing in that grill and just give you a really clean look.
Speaking of clean looks, we've got our first code. Everybody give a huge shout out and thank you to Ivory. It is going to be INTL, which is the abbreviated version of Intel-GMNG. That is gaming minus the vowels. So Intel INTL-Golf Michael Nevada Golf. That's the second code. I missed the first one because apparently I'm slow. Okay. Now the Intel one's obviously going to be going for this. And that first one was SNGL 7KSJ for those of you who are on other platforms. SNGL-7 Kilo Sierra Jammer. Okay, now, one thing that's really great about the NV5s is the back of it has a really cool feature that Spandex put on there, and that is the Velcro straps. So they do two different things. They can help with your cable management, but also gives you a chance to get things out of the way while you're working on cable management. Zach, how helpful is that when it comes to building a case as a feature?
I like it a lot, an awful lot, because it lets me align all of my USB cables, all of my SATAs that end up going into the case. Anything that you're plugging onto the motherboard, it allows you to like really get that looking real nice and good.
And then Comdog is asking, where do you enter the code? I believe once you go to the giveaway page, there should be a spot for entering the codes, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now we're getting these on here. The upside is these fans are going to be easy to connect because you really only have a few cords now instead of having to have one for every single thing.
Correct. It's just one line, which these guys have the fan header and their RGB header.
Yes. All right, now we're going to have obviously this one fan down below that's going to be pulling air up. You've got the three on the back pulling air in, and then we're going to have one up top for exhaust and the three up top for exhaust, which is going to make this a balanced system. Well, why is that airflow balance important?
Yeah, so when we're talking about airflow balance, you can either have it set up in a totally balanced system or a positive pressure and a negative pressure. And we like to lean towards the positive pressure side, and what that means is we have more air coming in the case than we do leaving. So we have 4 intake fans on this build and 4 exhaust fans. Now 3 of those exhaust fans are on the radiator up top, as you can see, and that radiator is going to put a little bit of restriction of airflow, obviously. So this is going to be a slightly positive pressure case. And the reason that we want that is because if we had it in the opposite way and had a negative pressure, that creates a vacuum inside of our machine, and that will cause dust and all stuff we don't want inside of our computer to get sucked in through all the little cracks and crevices.
Calm down, Jamal. Hello. Could you type it in chat? So, from my understanding, so I can't enter the giveaway because I'm not eligible. So if I actually go through your first 3 steps to unlock all the other options, and then you should see a spot where you can enter the codes. I believe that's how it works. Okay, now with our single fan down here, we've got another one going up on the back. Next thing I want to talk about is this gorgeous graphics card. So this is a 4070 Super. So what's the difference between a 4070 Super, and a 4070 Ti?
All right, so what the difference is going to be down in performance. Now there's going to be obviously some elements inside of them that are different as well, but for me, I like to think of them as completely different cards. So you got a 4070, and then better than that is a 4070 Super, and then you've got the 4070 Ti, and then you get the 4070 Ti Super. So there's a lot of variation in there, but just for me, I would think of them as different cards and just as you go up the list. So 4070, 4070 Super, then Ti, and then Ti Super. But yeah, really like this card from Gigabyte. This is their Aero model. So it's a white cooler with 3 white fans. Really sleek here. It uses the new high voltage connector there, so just one cable going to it, which is really nice. Really clean, kind of silver white backplate here with a big opening for good airflow. It does have 3 display ports and 1 HDMI for our video out.
Nice. And how heavy does that feel right now?
Honestly, this is not too heavy. It's definitely you know, I wouldn't say it's quite mid-tier. It's a little bit heavier than that. We'll probably use an anti-sag device on this, but we might find that we don't need it once we get this in the system.
Goran Mar over on the Facebook side, hi, says, want to see mini cases if it's possible. I feel like that's something. Well, we actually think we did one of those recently.
Yeah, some mini. Yeah, we did an 011 mini, like Zach just said, not that long ago. We do see a lot of those here. So yeah, if that's something people want to see more of, let us know. We can get some of those on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the ease of use with these fans is one of those things where now that we see them in the wild, the question is, how come we didn't think about this sooner? When it, like, as technical developers, that makes sense. Have you thought about doing a hardline water build? Good question.
Yes, so we have done those in the past. That is something we offer here. So if you're wanting just to go all out and get a custom open loop system, we do that as well. We do offer soft tubing and hard tubing. Now when we get those, most of the time we see the hard tube builds, which I prefer. I think they look a little bit cleaner because we do all the custom bending here, and we take all the tube bending and make sure that it looks really great for your build. Sometimes we may do it a little differently if you've got some different components, and so we make sure that comes out great. We have done one of those, maybe 2 of those on the show before. You can probably check that out on our YouTube if you want to see it. The reason why we don't do more of those on the show is because they are very labor intensive. I mean, sometimes it can take an entire day to just get one build done.
Yeah.
So the ones that we did for the show, we kind of prepped our tubes and put everything together there.
Nice. I know they do it with mineral oil, but there is another product used now. Interesting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that there was another aside from mineral oil.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is, but yeah, those mineral oil builds where they just fill the entire case up with liquid is pretty cool too. It's like a little aquarium build. Just don't put any fish in there.
Right. Yeah, that would be bad. Also, don't try and submerge one in the middle of a fish tank because it will heat up said fish tank. Okay, now as we get these all pulled through, so normally what we see Zach do is he puts together a lighting controller, little control box. So how is that going to work with these different fans?
So because these are Fantex fans and this is a Fantex case, we are actually able to plug everything in on itself. So all of it will be controlled via the case, via our buttons up top here. And then we can just control it with whatever colors we want on our buttons up top.
Nice.
Yeah, matching the brand of fans to the case when you're talking about lighting is a really good thing to do. You can make any of the brands work together with the right software, but when they have the same connectors and can all plug in, it just makes your life way easier and getting everything set up.
All right, that all out there. Yeah, that's that cable thing right there is that thing when you put your headphones, like earbuds, in a pocket and then pull them back out. You may have put them in there, wrapped it up properly. It comes out like 8 different knots. Like, I don't understand it. I didn't put it in my pocket this way. How did this occur? So, you can't get your EVGA GPU to connect to your MSI board. Uh-oh, Gauge Raider. Paul?
What do you mean by connect? Like, is it's reading it and everything? Are you talking about the lighting for it, or? RGB lighting? Okay. Yeah, so with that, you might look at what softwares work with both of those combined. I know you're not using any Asus there, but Armory Crate might still work for you. There's a few different ones. You might make sure, sometimes these cards will have a cable on them. I don't think EVGA has like an RGB, a special cable that comes with it to go off of. I think it's just all done through the PCIe slot. But yeah, there should be some aftermarket software you can download for lighting.
Over that column asks me how the day is going. Well, let's see. Aside from getting confused on the build, I will definitely say it's going well. We're playing with Star Wars stuff. I'm excited, and this build is going to be awesome. I'm really a fan of the fans because you can do them all with the spine to the back of the fans. You get that full scene of the blade.
This is the Hanshot First Edition, just so you guys know, too.
Hanshot First Edition.
Yeah. It's a Star Wars game.
Nice.
He shoots first.
Oh, yes.
You get
by the way, Colm, ask how you guys are doing.
He has to. We're doing good. He has to shoot first,
yeah, we're
right?
doing good because this is the last day of 100 degrees and we're going back into 80 degrees.
Are we going at 80s?
We're going back into 80s,
I gave up on
baby.
looking at it. I was like, nope, it's just hot.
It was the first thing I did this morning. Just wake up, look at what it's going to be like tomorrow.
Oh, my. 80 would feel great. Maybe a slightly cool morning. You can open the windows at night, maybe.
Yes,
now,
please.
like, it gets down to like 85 at night, and it's like, well, not opening these windows.
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear people in Texas are finally getting their power back slowly but surely. That is definitely important. We are actually heading into the hundreds. Today begins the hundreds, and it is going to be hundreds during the day, thunderstorms at night. It's like, wait, what is happening? Every once a hot fudge Sunday. Actually, it sounds really good.
That does sound good.
Are y'all going to DreamHack Atlanta? Asked Gage Road.
Hot Atlanta.
Atlanta. I am not sure. I'm sure there will be someone from CLX there, but I'm wanting to think that's still up in the air for us.
Yeah. So, Mark J asks a good question. Which airflow is better, positive pressure or neutral?
That's a good question. So positive pressure is going to be better, and the reason for that is all the air coming in is going to go through the proper channels in your case. So it's going to hit your filters. If you don't have it in a positive pressure, it can create a vacuum inside of your machine. Sorry, Zach. And that will suck in dust and air through that. Now, that being said, it's not the end of the world if you got it set up in a different way. It's just if you're starting a build from scratch, you might as well, put in a positive pressure if you can. It's not something that's going to like brick your machine if you don't do it that way or anything.
Yeah, I think mine is severe positive.
What a
Look
machine.
at that. So now that's not a cable mod. That's what actually comes with our PSU.
That's right, yeah. So with this power supply, this white edition of it, this does come in black as well. It comes with these white cables, which is a super nice touch. I'm really glad that they did that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this is going to be an 850 watt MSI Mag A850GL PCIS. It is 80 plus gold on here. Now,
That's all extra as well.
I noticed there's no cords coming out of this thing. So why is that?
Yeah, that is because this is a fully modular power supply. So you can see the ends that Zach just showed there. Now, what's great about modular power supplies is we've already plugged these cables in to the motherboard itself. So that's our CPU power that you see Zach plugging in, and then our 24 pin is this one hanging out. So it allows us to run those cables without our power supply in, which is just overall easier to manage. And then we can plug them in outside of the case, because sometimes getting your fingers inside the case to get those plugged in can be a pain. And then we can actually put the power supply inside after that and screw it in.
Nice. Well, actually, I'm loving the design on the back of this thing too.
Oh yeah.
They really do a lot with their power supplies, given regardless of how little you might see them. They still look cool. Now, as far as the power for this 4070 Super that we're going to be putting in there, my question is, what kind of a power? What kind of power are we going to need for that? Are we going to need the standard 8-pin, or are we going to need something a little bit more robust?
So this has the new 12-volt high power connector here. It's kind of easy to spot because it's got this yellow tip on it, just designating that it comes with that. Now this power supply does come with your standard 6+2 cables as well. If you had a card that needed, an 8-pin or a 6-pin, so you could use that.
Classic graphics.
Yeah, the legacy graphics now. I don't want that to be legacy. It's still good. So, but yeah, what's really nice with this new power cable is it's just one coming out. Now, if you don't have this cable from your modular power supply, your video card that has that connector is going to come with a dongle that will have a few 8 pins that you can plug into it. But it's always nice if you can just run one cable to your video card. Easier to build and just looks cleaner at the end.
Yeah. So, Kimiko, it's really funny. When we were down in Orlando for Outpost Discovery back in 2019, I hadn't been to Orlando in ages, and so it was wild because I kept my AC on as low as it could go, which was 66 degrees, and it was definitely not 66 degrees in there in the hotel room. But when I stepped out, I'd never had an experience where it is cold in the room and the heat hits you from the front, and suddenly you are only sweating on half your body, and it's the front half. And you just want to dive back in the room, get back in the shower, dry off again, but instead we had to walk all the way to the convention center. It's a lot of sweating that weekend. Step outside and feel like you're drowning. Yeah, it's twisted. It's funny how moisture variance can actually affect how your body interprets the heat so quickly and so drastically. By the way, I did all the things in the giveaway. I'll post by tagging you all on Twitter. So, what was the best part of the PC you like, and the boys also? Honestly, the paint job. The graphics are, bar none, astounding. And now, granted, that comes from a huge Star Wars super fan. But, again, the graphics on CLX computers are always just wicked.
I think so.
They're super fun. And gentlemen, what is your favorite thing about this build?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say the print as well. It came out super nice. I love the back panel, so yeah, the print for sure.
I'm going with the episode of when we had Mr. Arrow on, and we talked about the Arrow line. That was pretty cool.
That was.
The Arrow series is a pretty cool series.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Will there be codes for both giveaways? Yes. Like TJ looks like he came right out of a Star Wars set. Yes. Or a little, fandom gathering. We were LARPing. Just means I have a pretend blaster that never hits anybody. So with this being a 3-fan card, how are we going to feel about the need for an SW device?
Let's drop it real quick.
Yeah, so this is kind of borderline on the anti-sag device. Now, since we've got one here, we have one that comes with this case. We're going to go ahead and install it since it's kind of on the fence. But if you were installing this at home and you weren't shipping it anywhere, I'd be comfortable without having one.
Let's see. Did you stop posting on the CLX channel? Because last time you uploaded a vid was 7 months ago. I'm not sure which channel you're referring to. Okay, now we get that in there. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah. Usually if it like extends past the motherboard, I do like to, even if it is just a little 2-slot, barely 3-slot card, like it is just better safe than sorry. So we will be dropping that for sure. Right
over
there.
On the red side, James Alcott says, what headsets are you guys using? I use all Astro Logitech. All of it. Always. I'm an Astro Logitech guy. Gentlemen, how about you?
I use an Astro for gaming. I really like it. I like that it's got a little mixer attached to it, so I can have my like Discord and my game on separate channels, so I can just turn the dial if I want to turn my homies up, or turn it down if they're being obnoxious.
This is my only headset that I have, and this is a Logitech 435. I don't wear a headset at home. I don't talk to people. They don't want to talk to me.
Like that's it. Gaugerator, the cable management on my personal PC is actually really good. Now, the only jank thing I have going on inside my personal PC is I don't really ever get rid of hard drives. I just add to my build. So I've got a couple hard drives that are not screwed into anything. They're just like sitting in the bottom of my case plugged in. So that's probably the biggest shame I got there. And it's probably real dusty as well.
So speaking of that, let's talk about best practice for cleaning PCs, because I know that's going to be something that we've definitely got going on, especially as people have been switching over from heating to air conditioning, getting, different things going on. What's the best way to clean it?
So if your case is like this and you've got dust filters, this will just slide out and you can wipe it down, rinse it off, and you're good to go after that. So if you don't have that, you can just pull your side panels off, wipe everything down. Yeah, pretty straightforward when you got these dust filters. So.
Oh, right. Zach, is it introvert or technovert? That's
intro.
I would say I'm definitely a technovert. All right, and considering picking up an Astro, Katie Kamiko. There you go. I can talk all about those on my channel. So actually dyslexic. Ah, yes. Well, and it's funny because the other day when I did my Vorpal, I don't know why, but I somehow transposed the P and the R, and everybody was like, "What? This code's not working." And then looked at it and went, "Oh, yeah." All right, and while we are getting this design all put up, I would love to help. Oh my gosh, just looking at it there.
All right.
Can we do a top down for that?
Yes.
Look at this. This is gorgeous.
There we go.
I am forever impressed with the different things that can be printed, designed, put together. It's absolutely astounding. I dig it. What I also dig the fact that you guys might want to get a PC. So let's talk about how you can get your own PC right from us. At clxgaming.com. We're going there. Are we going there? Maybe we're going there. At clxgaming.com, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to get the PC of your dreams that's going to do exactly what you need it to do and meet your needs. From Intel to AMD, we've got NVIDIA and Radeon. You have your choice of everything from M.2s to SSDs to mechanical drives of multiple different sizes and styles. Your choice of fans, your choice of motherboards, processors, size of case, you name it. The upside is you don't have to be a professional builder to figure it out. See that little green button up there? if you happen to choose two things that don't necessarily aren't compatible, that little green button is going to turn to yellow. What that's going to say is you've got a conflict to resolve. The easiest one that I like to use is the RAM versus the motherboard. So if you have a DDR5 motherboard, but you chose DDR4 RAM, the system's going to tell you, all right, if you want to use this RAM, you got to choose one of these DDR4 motherboards. However, if you really want this DDR5 motherboard, you're going to have to choose one of these DDR5 RAMs. Once you've solved the problem, it goes back to green and you're ready to go. Now, there's also a ton of things that you can actually do when it comes to making it personal just for you. So you can actually get your GPU overclocked, your CPU overclocked. You can get both of them overclocked if you'd like. You can also upgrade your thermal paste, obviously choose your cooling, whether you can use AIOs or a custom closed loop, custom open loop. And the best thing is our accessories page, which is a lot of fun. Now, you can't get this in the accessories page, but you can get everything from CLX Gaming t-shirts to hats to our amazing windbreakers that are now available in gray, red, and purple, which is awesome. But we also carry pretty much everything else. We want keyboards, mice, headsets, microphones. We have streaming gear like capture cards and Beacon mix creates and Beacon mics. All of these are available inside of your. If you want a chair, we can even get you one of those. Now, some people are just thinking that's too many options. It's way overwhelming. That's all right. We have our ready to ship models, which is called our RTS section on the website. These are pre-built and pre-designed by the team there at CLX, and they come in many different levels. So you've got your entry, your mid, your high, and then your ultra. So this will give you a good starting point to take a look and see, all right, this is what this type of a build is going to consist of. Then you can go play with it, maybe adjust a little bit. It's all up to you. So for all of your PC needs, head on over to clxgaming.com and see how we can set you up for tomorrow. Oh my gosh. That is just gorgeous. What? That's incredible.
Oh, that
Absolutely
looks pretty
incredible.
cool with like the
With
fans
fans, yeah.
just ghosted
The
in there.
fans
Yeah.
That is wicked. Wicked. Look at that. Star Wars Outlaws.
Right there, Jason. Oh, go ahead. There.
Now, don't forget, Star Wars Outlaws is going to be launching on August 30th, it looks like, 2024. That is going to be coming up at the end of the summer, so you don't to miss that. It's going to be on Xbox, PS5, PC, and more. But this is going to be on PC. This is going to look so lit when it turns on. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Is everybody ready? Let's go. Wow. Just right out the gate.
Yeah, these fans are awesome.
Those are gorgeous. And they all change colors. So
Yeah,
I'm loving that light blue.
Yeah,
That light
this
blue
can
is
do
perfect.
all sorts of different colors. We really like the way it looks with light blue, so that's why we've got it on that. But yeah, if you get this, you can change it to any color you want.
Our memory
yes.
should change to orange here for a little bit too.
Nice.
That's awesome. That is so cool. All right, so once again, let's go over what is inside of this amazing build from with CLX in partnership with Star Wars. This is an Intel Core i7-14700KF, obviously on a custom NV5. It is mounted on a Gigabyte Z790 Aorus Elite X Ice with 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 RAM from ADATA, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 Super, and your operating system is going to be on a 1 terabyte ADATA M.2. The CPU will be cooled by an Intermax Liquimax 3 RGB AIO, and then of course we've got 8 Fantex D30 120 fans, and it's all powered by an 850 watt MSI Mag A850GL power supply. That is 80 plus gold. Nicely done. This is awesome. I dig it. Dig it a lot.
Yeah, good
Again,
luck to everyone. This is a really cool
Yes.
one to win.
Somebody is going to be winning something amazing. You know what else is amazing? Is that in just a few minutes, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're going to get to spend an amazing afternoon with Zach as he continues to build more cool stuff. So, with that being said, don't forget, we've got 2 different giveaways going on right now. You can find out the latest and greatest on all things that happen with CLX at YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Our social medias at CLX Gaming. Our shows happen here at Tuesdays, starting at 11, and Thursdays starting at 11 a.m. to Eastern. But the cool thing is, you get codes on the Kick side on Tuesdays, codes on the Twitch side on Thursdays. You could also possibly find codes in our Discord, and that's discord.gg/clxgaming with a whole bunch of other like-minded gamers and PC enthusiasts. The other place you can find them is on my stream, and I'll be having one later on today. That being said, on behalf of all of the artists who put this together, Kyle, Jason, Zach, and Paul, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. What is up, Scooby Gang? I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. I hope you had a fabulous weekend this past weekend. Hopefully it wasn't too warm for you. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I am letting my hair grow out. Yes, that's why I'm wearing a headset, so that I can not have it in my face, but it's kind of like a headband, you know? I can get it all back into the back. I know we just built a pretty sweet Outlaw build, but I've got a pretty cool NV7 now. We've got a very fancy ROG Strix Z790H motherboard. We have a very nice 4090 Supreme Edition liquid-cooled 4090. We've got a very loud Sound Blaster ZSE Edition. We have not one, but two stickies of NVMe. One of them is our 4 terabyte main drive, and our secondary backup drive is a 2 terabyter. We have a total of 64 gigabits of 6,000 megahertz on our memory modulars today. This is an Intel i9-14900 Kilo Foxtrot. What's the kilo mean? We can overclock. What's the Foxtrot mean? We don't have any graphics. We're going to power this bad boy with a 1,500 watt. Yes, you heard it here first and last. The biggest power supply we can put into a system, we're going to power it. And we also have a beautiful Corsair liquid cooler as well. All that's going to go into our NV7. It's a little bit bigger than the NV5. It comes in two fantastic colors, black and white. if you are wanting print jobs like what we have on that NV5, we do offer those on almost all of our raw designed cases. If there's anything